What's up, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? It's your boy Trey Larkins, Wise Guys Sports. Everybody go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys underscore H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. What's up, y'all? Back. Let's talk some basketball on this Monday, February the 22nd. We're getting into the biggest moments of the basketball season. The NBA All-Star game has come and gone. And so I was watching the Rockets Knicks game Saturday night. And I got my thoughts about the Houston Rockets and the New York Knicks. But I want to start off with the New York Knicks first. The Knicks beat the Rockets 108-106 Saturday night in Madison Square Garden in New York. They finished the game on a 9-3 run, and they beat the Rockets. And after the game, the NBA on ESPN crew that is now basically Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Charles, they were interviewing Karl-Anthony Towns after the game, and they were talking to Karl-Anthony Towns about the game and how he feels about the Knicks season so far. And one of the things that they were talking to him about was Shaq basically asked Cat a question about how does he feel about, where the Knicks are and what it's going to take for them to be able to reach their ultimate goals and make the NBA Finals. And Cat basically, I'm paraphrasing, but Cat basically tried to dismiss the idea / thought of him being one of the primary reasons why the Knicks couldn't make the NBA Finals. And Shaq checked Cat and pretty much told him, no, you need to be one of the main reasons and be a part of that 1-2 punch that's going to get the Knicks to the NBA Finals. And I 100% agree with Shaquille O'Neal, the great Shaq, because he was 100% right. And the thing about Shaq is more than qualified to be able to check Karl-Anthony Towns. Shaq was he was a 4-time NBA champion. He is one of the best big men in NBA history. He's the most dominant big man in NBA history. And so he is more than qualified for being able to check Karl-Anthony Towns because he knows what it takes to be able to win the championship. And when you look at Shaq and his career with the Lakers, the reason why the Lakers won those 3 championships back to back to back with Kobe was because of Shaq's dominance. And Shaq understood that him and Kobe had to be elite and they had to dominate in order for the Lakers to be champions. That's the attitude and the mentality that Karl-Anthony Towns needs to adapt so the Knicks can reach their ultimate goals and make the NBA Finals. I look at that Knicks team. I said it last year, and I said it at the beginning of this season. To me, the Knicks, from a talent perspective, they don't really have much talent. To me, their 2 best players are Jaylen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. So in order for the Knicks to make the NBA Finals, they need Karl-Anthony Towns to play at an elite level consistently the same way Jaylen Brunson plays at an elite level. And I love Shaq calling out Cat and basically letting him know, no, this ain't about the team. This is about you being aggressive and you embracing the fact that you are a part of this 1-2 punch. I love that from Shaq. And I love the fact that he called out Karl-Anthony Towns, because Karl-Anthony Towns has to embrace being a part of that 1-2 punch with Jalen Brunson and understanding that in order for the Knicks to reach their ultimate potential, it's not going to be about Miles Bridges. It's not going to be about Josh Hart. No, it's about Karl-Anthony Towns playing to the best of his abilities and playing at an elite level. That's the only way the Knicks are going to make the NBA Finals. Karl-Anthony Towns has to be more consistent and play at an elite level, because Shaq did it with Kobe, and that's why Shaq was trying to give Cat advice on, no, it ain't about the team. It's about you embracing this opportunity to be a 1-2 punch alongside Jalen Brunson and understanding that you have to be aggressive and you have to be one of the two best players on this basketball team for y'all to reach your ultimate goals and make the NBA Finals. So I agree with Shaq 100%. I feel like Shaq is more than qualified at being able to check Karl-Anthony Towns. And so I look at that Knicks team, and they had a great win over the Rockets Saturday night. But the Knicks, they have been up and down this season. They are number 3 right now in the Eastern Conference, though. But I feel like they're a team to me that got two. I think Jalen Brunson is great. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is good. So they got a great player and a good player. I feel like the Knicks don't have the firepower that other teams have. Like, I think the Pistons right now are better than the Knicks. I think depending on the Celtics get back Jayson Tatum, the Celtics, to me, are still better than the Knicks. I know the Knicks beat the Celtics last year in the playoffs. It's a new season. And I think Peyton Pritchard has gotten better. I think Derek White has elevated his game. We've seen Derek White really elevate his game as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Knicks are a good team. They end up firing Tom Thibodeau in the offseason, and they brought in Mike Brown. And to me, I didn't think the Knicks needed a new head coach. I felt like they needed a different type of roster to be true championship contenders. Now, we're going to see how their journey ends this year, because I think Giannis wants to be a New York Knick. And if the Knicks flame out early in the playoffs, I guarantee the Knicks are going to try and make a move for Giannis. And you can bet that Giannis will be a New York Knick next season. So that's going to be interesting to see with the Knicks, because as good as Karl-Anthony Towns is, he ain't Giannis. And Jalen Brunson, alongside Giannis in New York, playing at the Mecca in Madison Square Garden every night, that will be box office. But like I said, I love seeing Shaq call out Karl-Anthony Towns and basically telling Karl-Anthony Towns, you need to embrace being a part of this 1-2 punch and being dominant and aggressive so the Knicks can reach their ultimate goals and make the NBA Finals. Because we know Jalen Brunson is going to bring it. We know Jalen Brunson is one of the most clutch players in the NBA, and he is the Knicks' best player significantly. But Cat is the Knicks' second best player, and they don't have enough firepower to overcome Karl-Anthony Towns not being aggressive and being soft in the postseason. So that's the thing with the Knicks. They don't have enough firepower, in my eyes, to overcome Cat not being aggressive and not being that second best player on that team. They need Karl-Anthony Towns to be aggressive and be effective in order to reach their goals. So he got to embrace that. He got to embrace that for sure. Cat has to embrace that. But also, too, I want to talk about the Houston Rockets. So I think it was a little over 2 minutes left to go in that game. The Rockets led the Knicks 103-99. The Knicks ended the game on a 9-3 run, and the Knicks beat the Rockets 108-106. And I thought it was a total collapse by the Houston Rockets. And it got me to thinking, can the Houston Rockets make it to the NBA Finals? Like, are they legitimate championship contenders? And after watching the Houston Rockets collapse against the Knicks Saturday night in New York, the answer to that question is no. The Houston Rockets are not championship contenders because they don't have a true point guard. They don't have a true point guard. And that's the reason why they lost Saturday night against the Knicks. They didn't have a true point guard. And I think sometimes I watch the Rockets play and they give the basketball to Kevin Durant and Sengun, and they just expect KD or Sengun to make something out of nothing and create offense for them. Like, they don't have a true point guard that is creating offense for Kevin Durant and Sengun. Kevin Durant and Sengun are creating the offense, and they also are finishing. Like, the Rockets need a point guard to create the offense and be a quarterback of their offense, per se. And them losing Fred VanVleet significantly hurt their championship aspirations in my eyes. Seriously. Like, them losing Fred VanVleet before the season started, that hurt the Rockets' championship aspirations. And I don't think the Rockets are true championship contenders in the Western Conference. I think right now the Denver Nuggets are better than the Houston Rockets. The defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder are better than the Houston Rockets. So I think because they don't have a true point guard, I don't see a way or see a path for the Rockets to make the NBA Finals. It's too much Kevin Durant, Sengun, and they have to not only finish and score points for the Rockets, but they also have to create the offense. And to me, that's not a recipe for success if you want to be a true championship contender. They need a Fred VanVleet. I don't understand why at the trading deadline they didn't make a move for a true point guard. Like, they could have possibly traded for maybe Alonzo Ball. Like, I think the Rockets desperately need a true point guard. And I think that was the biggest reason why they collapsed against the Knicks Saturday night. The biggest reason why the Rockets collapsed Saturday night in Madison Square Garden in New York was because they did not have a true point guard, a point guard that can calm everyone down, run the offense through Kevin Durant and Sengun. That's the thing. If you got a true point guard is going to set up KD and set up Sengun and put them in positions to be successful. Instead, the Rockets have Kevin Durant and Sengun as their initiators, and they're trying to be playmakers. Kevin Durant is a elite scorer. He's one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, if not the greatest scorer. And Kevin Durant can pass the basketball, but Kevin Durant is a better scorer than playmaker. Sengun is a better scorer than playmaker. Now, Sengun can pass the basketball as a big man, but he's a scorer, and I think that the Rockets need a playmaker, and they don't have that. They don't have that. And so them losing Fred VanVleet before the season started really hurt their championship aspirations in my eyes. But I do like some of the other players on their roster, like Thompson, and, you know, they got some guys that can definitely contribute on their basketball team. But they need a point guard. They really need a point guard. So those are my thoughts on the Rockets and Knicks after watching the Knicks beat the Rockets 108-106 Saturday night in New York. But I was watching the Celtics-Lakers game yesterday, and the Celtics beat the Lakers 111-89, and Jaylen Brown led the way for the Celtics, and Peyton Pritchard also was balling for the Boston Celtics as well. And it got me to thinking about how far can Jaylen Brown take the Boston Celtics, assuming Jayson Tatum does not return back to action this season, I think Jaylen Brown has been balling this year. I think right now, Jaylen Brown is top 2 in the NBA MVP conversation. I think Jaylen Brown has elevated his game, and he is the best two-way player in pro basketball right now. I mean, he is balling, playing at an elite level. Peyton Pritchard has also been balling for the Boston Celtics. He's been very consistent, and he's gotten better as a scorer. We know Derek White is a tremendous defensive guard. He's also a great perimeter shooter for the Boston Celtics. They traded for Vucevic at the trading deadline as well. And I think Vucevic is going to take on that role that Kristaps Porzingis previously had on the Boston Celtics. That stretch 5 who can bring those opposing teams' centers out from the paint. And you gotta seriously, when you play in the Celtics, you gotta take Vucevic's range serious. The same way you had to take Porzingis' range serious. And in that Joe Mazzulla system, the center position, you have to be able to shoot. We saw it with Kristaps Porzingis with the Celtics. We saw it with Al Horford as well. And Vucevic can hit perimeter shots. And so if you are an opposing team center, you have to take Vucevic serious as a perimeter shooter. And so that helps and creates driving lanes for Peyton Pritchard, for Jaylen Brown, for Derek White, because they have Vucevic as their center right now. And so I think Vucevic will do a great job playing the same role that Kristaps Porzingis played under Joe Mazzulla in that system, that Al Horford played under Joe Mazzulla in that system. And so I believe Jaylen Brown can take the Boston Celtics all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think the Celtics are going to make the NBA Finals without the services of Jayson Tatum. But I do think the Celtics can win 1 or 2 playoff series and at least get to an Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't know if they can beat Detroit right now. I mean, Detroit, they are balling. The Detroit Pistons are balling. And that's another reason why Jaylen Brown may not win NBA MVP, because Cade Cunningham has been balling for the Detroit Pistons. His brother's been balling. And he is the biggest reason why the Detroit Pistons are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And right now, the road to the NBA Finals has to go through Detroit, because the Detroit Pistons are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Cade Cunningham is the biggest reason why. So I think the Celtics can beat the Knicks potentially in a 7-game series. I think they can beat other teams in the East in a 7-game series as well, like the Magic or the Miami Heat. They can beat the Sixers as well in a 7-game series. I don't know if the Celtics without Jayson Tatum can beat the Detroit Pistons. And I also think without Jayson Tatum, the Knicks could beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. And I think it'll be a toss-up. But without JT, I can't see the Celtics beating the Pistons. And I think against the Knicks, it will be a toss-up. But I think the Celtics can beat everybody else. I think right now in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics can beat everyone else, not named the Detroit Pistons. And it's a toss-up between the Celtics and the Knicks right now in the Eastern Conference. But the Celtics can beat the Sixers in a 7-game series without Jayson Tatum. The Celtics can beat the Orlando Magic in a 7-game series without Jayson Tatum. The Celtics can beat the Miami Heat in a 7-game series without Jayson Tatum, because of the emergence of Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard has improved on his game, and he won NBA Sixth Man of the Year last year, and he's gotten better. He's gotten better. Last night, he had 30 points against the Lakers. They had no answers for Peyton Pritchard last night. No answers whatsoever. Now, the Lakers don't play much defense anyway, but Peyton Pritchard was balling last night for the Boston Celtics. He got whatever, wherever, whenever on the basketball court last night for the Boston Celtics and was able to score at an elite level. And I love Joe Mazzulla as our head coach now. And yes, I said R because everybody knows I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a Jayson Tatum fan. But I think Joe Mazzulla has gotten better as the Celtics head coach. And I think right now, the Celtics, because they don't have high expectations, because they don't have Jayson Tatum, I think the Celtics are sleepers in the East. I really feel like they are sleepers. And coming into the season, this was supposed to be the New York Knicks year to make it to the NBA Finals. The Celtics lost Jayson Tatum to a torn Achilles in the playoffs last year. The Indiana Pacers lost Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals to a torn Achilles last year. So coming into the season, this was supposed to be a year in which the New York Knicks finally get over the hump and make it to the NBA Finals. And as we sit here today, I don't know if the Knicks are better than the Celtics, even if the Celtics don't have Jayson Tatum. The Knicks damn sure are not better than the Pistons. The Pistons have smoked the Knicks in all three of their matchups so far this season. All three of their matchups this year, the Detroit Pistons have smoked the New York Knicks. So it's crazy because I thought coming into the season that this was going to be the year that the Knicks make it to the NBA Finals. Remember last year, the Knicks made it to the conference finals for the first time since 2000. That's why I thought it was crazy that they decided to fire Tom Thibodeau. But right now, I don't know if the Knicks are going to make the NBA Finals. I really don't. Like, and I think right now in the East, the Knicks are the 3 seed and the Sixers are the 6 seed. Assuming Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George are all healthy, I think the Sixers could beat the Knicks in a 7-game series in the playoffs. I'm going to say it again. If Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George, when he comes back from his 25-game suspension, if they're all healthy, I think the Sixers could beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. I do. I really do. Now, that's a big if with the Sixers, though. We know the Philadelphia 76ers are never healthy. They are the Eastern Conference version of the LA Clippers. For whatever reason, the LA Clippers in the Paul George and Kawhi Leonard era, the Clippers could never stay healthy. We knew the Clippers had talent, and we knew they had tremendous upside as a basketball team. That's the same way I feel about the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers have talent with the trio of Maxey, George, and Embiid. But the question for the Sixers is and remains, will Embiid and George be healthy and will they be available once the NBA playoffs roll around? We know Tyrese Maxey is going to be available and he will be healthy once the playoffs roll around. Tyrese Maxey is the Sixers' #1 option in Philly. It's no longer Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid has higher upside than Maxey. And when Embiid is playing at his best, I think Embiid is better than Maxey. But I think Maxey is a #1 option simply because of his availability, and he's not as injury prone as Joel Embiid is. And so I think right now he's more consistent than Embiid is. And I think Maxey is the #1 option in Philadelphia, not because of talent or Maxey just being flat out better than Embiid. It's solely based on the fact that Embiid can't stay healthy and he's never available. But yeah, I think right now if the Knicks and the Sixers played in the playoff series and Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid were all healthy, I think the Sixers could beat the Knicks. I really do. I think they could beat the Knicks. I think the Sixers and Knicks played a few years ago in the NBA playoffs, not last year, but the year before. And I can't remember if the Knicks or the Sixers won that series. But it was a really competitive series. It really was. It was a really, really good series. I think the Knicks might have won that series. But, yeah. But, yeah, man, NBA is in full effect. It's going to be interesting in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, too. Man, it's going to be a good finish to the NBA season. But those are my thoughts on the NBA currently as we speak. Oh, also, before I leave, everybody's asking me as a Jayson Tatum fan, do I want Jayson Tatum to come back this season? That's the biggest question right now surrounding Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics. And for me, honestly, my heart wants Jayson Tatum to come back and play this season because I'm a Jayson Tatum fan. So obviously my heart wants to see JT play this year. But my mind is telling me, like, hey, he tore his Achilles. It takes a full year to get back to 100% after you tear your Achilles. The only player that came right back and got busy after a torn Achilles was Kevin Durant. He's the only player in NBA history who tore his Achilles, and as soon as he returned back to the court, he got busy right away. And so my heart wants Jayson Tatum to return back to the floor and play this season and help the Celtics go on a deep playoff run because I'm a Tatum fan. But my mind is telling me, hey, it may be better for Tatum to sit out this season and come back next season where he's going to be 100%. He'll be 100% next year, and the Celtics are going to pick up right where they left off or leave off this year because they'll be in the playoffs, and Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still the best NBA duo in basketball. Tatum and Brown are the best duo in pro basketball. Tatum and Brown are better than Murray and Jokic. They are better also than Luka and LeBron. They are better than Maxey and Embiid. So if Tatum can recover and get back to 100%, the Boston Celtics will be championship contenders next season. But my mind is telling me let him sit out, but my heart is in this, and my heart wants to see JT play this year because I'm a JT fan. But those are my thoughts on whether or not I believe Jayson Tatum should return back to the court. My heart wants to see Jayson Tatum come back because I'm a Jayson Tatum fan, but my mind is telling me it may be smart for the Celtics to hold Jayson Tatum out and let Tatum come back in the 2026, 2027 NBA season. He may have to sit out the 2025, 2026 NBA season. But even if he came back, Tatum won't be 100%. But a 65, 70, 75% Jayson Tatum with the way that Jaylen Brown is balling right now, that might be enough to get the Celtics to the NBA Finals. Because right now, you can say the Celtics have a legitimate trio with Tatum, Brown, and Pritchard to build around. That's the core. And Derek White, too. You got to throw Derek White in there as well. But in that Joe Mazzulla system, with Joe Mazzulla also getting better as an NBA head coach, the Celtics are going to be championship contenders for many years to come. But those are my thoughts on Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics and how I'm feeling right now about the NBA. Just to recap, I do not believe the Houston Rockets are championship contenders in the West because they don't have a true point guard. I love Shaq calling out Karl Anthony Towns Saturday in his interview with the NBA on ESPN crew. I love seeing Shaq call out Karl Anthony Towns because there's no other big man that is more qualified than Shaq to call out Cat. I love seeing that because Cat needs that. And Cat needs to know in order for the Knicks to reach their full potential and be able to get to the NBA Finals, they need him to play at an elite level and be consistent and be aggressive. Like Shaq said, I don't want to hear nothing about the team. It's about you. It's about you and you being aggressive and being assertive and making sure that you are that consistent second option for this New York Knicks team to reach their ultimate goals and reach the NBA Finals. So I love that. Love that. But I'm Trey Larkins signing off. A Wise Guy Sports. Y'all enjoy y'all Monday.